Chapter 9 Workin' Man Blues. Dipper stopped playing. The three boys stopped singing. Jack and Annie stopped drumming. There was silence. They all crept to the open doorway and stepped outside. The rain had stopped and the wind had died down. The air felt clean and cool. Stars shone overhead. The pirate ghosts were gone. "Whoa, that was something," said Little Mac. "What just happened?" "Was it a dream?" asked Big Nose Sydney. "Were those ghosts real?" "I don't know," said Dipper, "but I'll tell you this. You'll never, ever get me back in that shop again." Everyone laughed. Even Happy looked happy. "Hey, Dipper, how'd you get so good on that horn?" he asked, grinning. "I practiced for 2 years at the Waifs' home," said Dipper. "That's how." "You got to blow that horn while we sing," said Big Nose Sydney. "Come with us now. We really do have an important gig tonight, on a riverboat." "A riverboat?" Jack and Annie said together. They looked at each other. Their research book said that the Louis Armstrong developed his musical talents performing on riverboats. "That's right," said Little Mac. "Oh, wow, Dipper, you have to go with them," said Annie. "Yeah, man," said Jack. But Dipper just shook his head. "Sorry, folks, but I can't play tonight. I have to get up early in the morning to haul coal." "Aw, Dipper," said Little Mac. "Aw, Dipper," said Jack. "Don't y'all worry about me," said Dipper. "Have a good time on the boat, fellas. Hang on to that smile, Happy." "I'll try," said Happy. "See you later," said Big Nose Sydney. "So long to y'all, too," Little Mac said to Jack and Annie. "Bye," said Jack. "Good luck on your gig," said Annie. The three boys waved and took off. Dipper looked after them for a long moment. Then he turned to Jack and Annie. "Here's your horn back," he said. "Thanks for letting me play it." He handed the trumpet to Annie. "Do you want to keep it?" she said. "No, thanks. I got my own horn back at my house. A cornet they gave me at the Waifs' home," said Dipper. "Some day, when I'm grown, maybe I'll bring it out again." "I think you should have gone with the fellas, Dipper," said Jack, "to share your musical gifts." I know," said Dipper, "to share my musical gifts with the world." He shook his head as if he were shaking off the thought. Then he beamed a big smile at Jack and Annie. "Hey, weren't we talking about dessert a little while back? That's a gig I can get behind and still get some sleep. Come on." As Dipper led Jack and Annie down the rain-slicked street, the wet sidewalks glistened like silver. Life had returned to the French Quarter. Horses and mules splashed through puddles. Street lamps burned brightly outside dance halls and restaurants. Waiters carried tables and chairs back outside. When Dipper, Jack, and Annie came to Jackson Square, they found kids playing music again. A band was playing a song Jack knew, "When the Saints Go Marching In." A few people in costumes were wandering about. Dipper led Jack and Annie to the back door of the River Cafe. "The cook here is a friend of mine, so don't worry about the waiters," he said with a wink. "Be back in a minute." He slipped into the cafe kitchen. As Jack and Annie waited for Dipper, they could hear the jazzy music coming from the square. "Oh, when the saints go marching in, oh, when the saints go marching in." "Teddy was right. I love New Orleans," said Annie. "Me too," said Jack. "But how are we ever going to accomplish our mission for Merlin? Dipper seems like he's never going to change his mind about music." "I know," said Annie. "In fact, I was just thinking that we might have to do something really drastic." "What's that?" said Jack. "Show him my research book," said Annie. "Whoa," said Jack. "Do you really think—" Before Jack could finish, Dipper came back outside. Talk about something good," he said. He clutched a greasy napkin filled with freshly made doughnuts. "Follow me." As Jack and Annie followed Dipper to the river, Jack's mind was racing. Should they show Dipper the research book? It would prove that they'd come from the future. What would Dipper say? What would he think? It's too weird, Jack thought. "Let's just try talking to him first," Jack whispered to Annie. She nodded. Dipper led them to a bench near the water. Jack and Annie sat on the wood on either side of him. Dipper unwrapped the doughnuts and handed one to Jack and one to Annie and kept one for himself. "Careful," said Dipper. "The sugar will get all over y'all." Jack lifted the warm, sticky donut to his mouth and took a big bite. Powdered sugar, flour, butter, vanilla, all melted in his mouth. It was mighty good. Nobody talked while they ate their donuts. When they were finished, they all wiped their sticky fingers on their shirts and pants. By now, Jack's clothes were soaked with rainwater, coal, dust, kitchen grease, sweat, and grime. A little powdered sugar and butter won't make a bit of a difference now, he thought. So, Dipper, said Annie, you know you're a really great musician, don't you? Dipper smiled at her. Actually, you're a creative genius, added Jack. Dipper laughed out loud. And y'all know who you are, don't you? Yep, the biggest potato heads you ever met, finished Jack. But this time we're right, said Annie. Nope, sorry, said Dipper. I'm definitely no genius. The truth is I never got past elementary school. I don't even know how to read music. But don't you love to play music? Said Annie. Yeah, sure I do. Somehow I've got music in my bones, said Dipper. Sad to say, all I really ever want to do is blow my horn. Then why don't you? Said Jack. He felt desperate. Even without their mission for Merlin, it seemed incredibly sad that Dipper had to turn his back on music. Yeah, why don't you go play on the riverboat with the fellas, said Annie. It wouldn't hurt you to miss a few hours' sleep. Dipper took a deep breath and let it out slowly. When I was 12 years old, I got too rowdy one time, he said. It was New Year's Eve. I was singing with the fellas, and I got carried away and fired off a gun, just into the air. I wasn't trying to hurt anybody, but I got caught, and I got sentenced to 2 years in the waif's home. I just got out a little while ago. I feel really bad for letting my family down like that. So right now, all I want to do is help them by keeping a steady job. But what about a job playing music, said Jack. Great musicians can make a lot of money and help their families. Not playing the music I want to play, said Dipper. At least I haven't met any yet, have you? Yes, actually we have, said Annie. She turned and looked at Jack. We have to do it. Jack sighed, then nodded slowly. Annie was right. He reached into his bag and pulled out the research book.